What's going on, everyone? My name is Mr. Aquaman, and welcome to our first episode of the KoloCast, a brand new show where we get to know some of your favorite faces from the competitive community. Now let my co-host, who is going to join me every single episode, introduce himself.
What's going on, everybody? Obviously, as Mr. Aquaman just said, I'm the co-host. My name is Flashyy. I'm a full-time gaming YouTube content creator. And then here at the Kolosseum, I'm actually the creative director. So during the events like Global and now upcoming Rewind, which sign up and register for that, you'll be seeing me do the live tweets and everything like that, as well as controlling everything going on the official YouTube channel. So subscribe to that one as well. But I'm done plugging all the things that I do. We got the one and only Waz here on the show to be our first guest. He was the first commentator for the Kolosseum Global. It's only fitting that he's the first guest for the KoloCast. Waz, what is going on, man? How are you?
Fellas, look, I'm very happy to be back in something with the Kolosseum. Since the Global and now Rewind happening, I've been a big fan of the whole initiative and like direction Kolosseum's going. I love having this chat with Aquaman and you guys. It's going to be a nice chill chat. I really want to get some things out there. I think it's going to be a good chat. Everything is good right now, man. Life is just going crazy. Everything that I've been putting my energy towards, like in terms of content and competing, it's just like it's been skyrocketing lately. So the spot I'm in right now is really good, man.
And that is a perfect place to start right there, Waz. I mean, here on the KoloCast, we want to get to know you, but we also want to get pretty real on here, especially, in this space and, where everyone is, how the climate is in the world. Everyone's trying to be successful, and you have been one of those that have found success in the previous 24 hours. All of us getting to find out, getting picked up by Mind Freak. And part two to that, Waz, real quick, because let's get real deep into this, is that you were able to do that in that climate that I'm talking about, where there's a drought in content, there's a drought in competitions, and how have you been able to pull that off?
Yeah, I mean, so if anyone has been following any of my stuff in the past, 5 months, especially, I've kind of just hit a point where I was doing content, I was competing, but I was never like super like 100% committed to the content side of things. Like I was always really passionate about competing, but something about the content just wasn't hitting. Like I would start and then I would stop, and like I was very inconsistent with it, and it kind of just got to a point where, like, especially with this whole like situation in the world right now, I'm like, I don't have any excuse to not do this right now, to like go full in on the content. Like I've got the time. The content is obviously there. People still love to watch Mortal Kombat. We all know that. So I'm like, if there's people that are still doing it right now, there's no reason I can't. So I basically just went, like, maybe 4 months ago, I'd say it was, when I was like, all right, I'm just going to go insanely hard on the content, be super consistent. And I mean, I did a lot of studying too on like the top YouTubers for MK and what they were doing. That was right. And I guess all of that combined with just, my results in competing earlier on in the like pro comps, all of OCE pro comp, of course, and, all the international events over the years, I guess just all of that combined, and the momentum I have right now was kind of the reason where, like, I got picked up by Mind Freak now. I've got G Fuel as a sponsor as well. I've kind of just like, I'm taking every avenue I can possible. I don't want to really I don't want to do it anymore unless I'm going like 100% and going for like the full-time goal. So, I just really put more time into it, to be honest.
That's absolutely awesome to hear, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Is something that has been kind of missing from our community for quite some time. There's so many ways that we can take this conversation. I can just start with one here of piggybacking off of that, and in that that's always been there, right? The viewership's always been there for Mortal Kombat, especially on YouTube. Like our community has. It's been a crime that our community hasn't gotten in on YouTube a lot more, because it's what I see. It's the first thing that gets me into looking at Call of Duty, looking at Fortnite, is being on YouTube and seeing some clip with 6 million views, and then going, oh crap, what's that? And Mortal Kombat's always kind of been there, but it's been the non-competitive side of Mortal Kombat YouTube that succeeded for such a long time, because our top players weren't lazy, but they just didn't do that for a long time. But some of them we can say kind of are lazy, and that's going to be another part of this conversation too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me personally, like when I was initially making content, like I've been doing it for a long time. Like I've been competing since 2016 now, and I was always like, for years, even before like esports or like MK or whatever, like I always made like content on YouTube, like in I never really found that thing that was truly what it was for me until like MK came around. But like even in the first early years, I mean, I'll admit I was lazy. I didn't really see the value in content at that point. Because no one, when you first start, you don't really think about it like, oh, this can be like a career, this can be something I can do at first. So it's like, yeah, I mean, if you're at this point, if you're getting into FGC or like getting into MK and like you seriously want to do something with it, you have to do content. Like competing, obviously you can work, but like in the long run, content is going to be the king, especially Mortal Kombat, especially like you said on YouTube. YouTube audience is always going to be there. The numbers are just absolutely insane over there. So like, yeah, man, there's so many ways we can go about this for sure.
My question is, you said like 4 months ago you came to that realization because everybody's doing it. Did you always kind of have in the back of your head that you wanted to just go all in on YouTube? I know you're doing the Twitch streaming thing, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Was it kind of like a balance in your head where you're like, I want to stream, but I also want to do YouTube, but I also want to compete? Was like, where did you kind of just come up with the idea? Like, you know what? Okay, full in, 100%, going to grind out the YouTube, which let me congratulate you. I saw that you almost hit your goal of 10,000 subscribers. Dude, absolutely awesome. Like that's so sick to hear, especially people in the Mortal Kombat world hitting their goals and stuff. But yeah, where did it kind of come from where you're like, I got to balance competing, so I got to be nasty at the game. I got to balance live streaming, and I got to balance, sitting. Listen, I know editing takes a long ass time. Making thumbnails, doing all that takes a long ass time, man. So yeah, exactly. Aquaman doesn't even do it. He makes me do everything. So it's like,
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm not touching it. Good luck to every single one of you. Listen, I'm going to derail this completely, but to say that I was a fuck.
No, you can curse. You're good. It's your show, man.
We're good. We're good. I'm a fucking idiot. If I wanted to be successful, I would have done it 10 years ago as well. But I'm a fucking idiot and I'm lazy and I hate pre-recorded content, which is exactly what we're doing. Maybe I'm getting stubborn or less stubborn in my older years and finally trying it. But learn from, the older guys like me that were idiots for not doing it sooner, which is why we're starting to see a lot more people getting into it, I think. But I fucking hate it.
Waz, out of everything that we just said in Aquaman's rant, where did you kind of realize, like, how do you do that 33% split amongst all three, right? Being nasty at the game, doing the live streaming, doing the editing and the pre-recorded stuff. Like, do you bracket out your days? Do you just say, today I'm going to do this? Or like, what's kind of your method of madness, if you will? Because it is mad. It's crazy. So kind of talk about how you go about that.
So, I mean, I was always competing since 2016, and I was taking it pretty seriously. 2019 was kind of the year where like I traveled a lot. So I was going overseas a lot in that time. That's when I really started to get some momentum on YouTube, like early on, because I was doing pretty well overseas. So I got a bit of a like name for myself from that. And obviously like Summit happened as well. If you guys saw that, then that also got a lot of exposure to me at the start. But it was kind of honestly like when the whole like situation with the pandemic happened in like 2020, that was honestly kind of the reason why, not the reason, but it made me realize that if I'm not traveling, I don't need to practice as much because like, I'm just going to be honest, like I can win pretty much, like I win like almost every single OC event and like I don't need to practice as much here. Like just being honest, like,
love it.
Look, I love the scene here and everything, but
I hope that entire community takes that and uses that as fuel to murder Waz during one of these events. And I hope that the pop off in the Oceania region is monumental when that occurs. Full offense to Wazminator with that.
All I'm saying is like I've lost some events here, but like the amount of practice I need to put in now when I'm just playing OCE is like not as much because like that's not even like an offensive thing to say. It's just the facts. Like I'm not gonna say I need to put in like 100 hours practice right now because I'm not traveling. So it's like right now I can kind of balance them a lot easier. But in terms of like the streaming and the YouTube thing, I kind of found a format that worked for me. So basically, I did have an editor for a little bit because I was still obviously working like a normal day job as well. But that's on hold right now because of the whole like situation. So I've got a lot more time to be able to like balance streaming and editing. And so basically what I've done now is I've kind of based it around when I do a stream, I already plan the video ahead of time. So like I know the video that I make is almost like 90% of my videos are from my live stream. So I'll just go into my stream. I'll do the whole thing live. Like I'll do the intro like on my live stream. I'll do all the matches on my stream, the outro. I do everything on the stream. So the video's already done. I don't actually have to do anything. And at the same time, I'm getting the stream audience, like, I'm satisfying them as well. So it's like the live audience still gets everything. And then if you don't catch it live, you can just go watch the YouTube video anyway. In terms of the editing, like I probably only spend maybe 3 to 4 hours max on a video each time, like editing it and then the thumbnail. So, because like the format I have for the videos isn't like, I don't have to go crazy on the editing. It's pretty easy, to be honest. So yeah, I probably spend maybe 4 hours a day, like in terms of editing thumbnail, and then I stream 4 times a week. So there's always like, I just always have that backlog of videos I can easily make content on. But yeah, I mean, I just covered everything now. Like I have like literally every single platform. There's something of mine you can find, which is like a big one that I think changed the game for me a bit as well. Like any platform that has content except for Facebook, I don't really care about that. I've covered everything. So
hell yeah,
that was also a big change for me too. Like once I realized, I'm not going to be traveling as much, and then I was like, my passion for competing is still there 100%, but I knew that I couldn't actually go overseas and do it. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to give it my all for content, and like, because I want to do this full time. I don't actually do it full time right now, but I'm like on the way there. So that's why I'm like, if I seriously want to do this, yeah.
We've seen
like, if I really want to do this,
like you were talking about in the past 4 months alone, man, like it's been substantial. But how crazy is it to piggyback off of what you just said of how many things you're doing off of your live stream? I feel like that should be one of the blueprints for how do we get more players kind of switching over to that, when most pro players, when they live stream, they just stream them playing sets and then they cut the stream, usually something like that. Mm-hmm. But how crazy is that you can take content like that and make money off of it 4 or 5 different ways, literally doing one thing and then trying to make money off of it multiple different ways. And how you do that is exactly that. You take that and then you bring that into the YouTube audience, and then you can even bring that into a different YouTube audience in and of itself. TikTok is blowing up massively right now. We need to get it on TikTok. As much as I hate it and don't understand it whatsoever, because I'm old, and that's how it works. But it's blowing up. Millions of people are on it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can post, like, it's really honestly, like, a lot of what people think is like, what I do is like so hard, like, oh, it's so time consuming. Like early on, maybe because like I've got a lot of experience in it now, so I can kind of like, I can do it pretty quickly. Obviously early on, it's going to take a bit more time, but I mean, if you really want to do it, just, invest in an editor, invest in your brand. Like obviously you're going to be losing money early on. But in the long run, if you have that consistent content, and especially when there's going to be a new game coming out, I kind of also have the mindset now where I want to build the audience to like as much as I can possibly have it before the new game comes out. So when that new game comes out, whatever it is, it's going to be like people search on YouTube and they see me with however many subscribers I have at the time. That's just going to bring so many more people in. So like, yeah, that's just exactly like you said, like all the platforms like TikTok, even Instagram, like I post on literally everything. So that's something people need to do. I think the biggest like misconception with, and I had this exact same mistake early on, is that the YouTube audience doesn't care as much about high level, honestly. Like, I learned that I make my videos just more entertaining. They don't even have to be like insanely good matches. If I make them entertaining, they do way better than all the high levels. Like I posted videos with literally like the best players, like Sonic, Fox, Dragon, like, and they won't do anywhere near as good as an entertaining kind of video. So like
this is
shifting away from that is, especially with a game like
this is across the board.
Yeah, man. And like, if you look at Mortal Kombat, we know like the sales are insane, but obviously the small percentage is the competitive side. So if you can mix up like your personality with the gameplay, which is what I do, it's the perfect balance to bring in a bunch of the YouTube audience.
It's so cool that you're able to kind of like just take a step back and just realize all of these things, because I think like Aquaman was alluding to it, you were even alluding to it, where you're just like, people just, they kind of strap themselves in this single lane where they're like, I'm just going to compete. I'm going to grind 100 hours a day and I'm just going to go to tournaments and all that. But for you to be able to step back and understand what different audiences are looking for, how you can kind of adapt your content, make it malleable. A lot of people are kind of rigid in what they do. And it seems like you can just bend and maneuver anything that you do any way you want and make it work. And I think that's huge for anybody listening if you want to be a pro player or a content creator. But something you also said that was super awesome is that you understood that you didn't, quote unquote, waste any time being a professional player. You utilized that traction that you had as a professional player to drive people to your YouTube channel. So we're sitting here talking about how important content is. Content's nothing if nobody's going to click on it, nobody knows who you are. So
That's
for
right.
you to be able to understand that you were able to build a little following, being a professional player and being nasty at the game, now you're kind of taking advantage of that because they all came to your channel to find that initially, and now you're just, snowballing on that. And then to go on the snowball thing
Exactly.
again, you're like, when the next game comes out, by then I want to be, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 subs. And the snowball is just going to get bigger and bigger. You're going to go to more tournaments, more names, more all of this, man.
Isn't that crazy that that's the best time to be a YouTuber is when the game first drops? Because again, when MKX came out, when Injustice 2 came out, when MK11 came out, I'm like, I was an idiot. And if I would have seen hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views on the very first videos for you, that's the perfect time, guys. Just jump on it.
When Fujin came out, bro, my channel was skyrocketing, and I was just sitting back like, yo, what the hell is going on? Like, and then MK was like, yeah, we're not dropping any more characters. And I'm like, oh, my channel's dead. So but yeah, if you could just keep up that pace, man, it's absolutely unbelievable because you're grabbing eyeballs from every single different avenue that you can, and I think that's huge. It's tough. You have to learn every platform. You have to figure out what works on those platforms, and you actually have to do it. So to be able to step back and learn all that, dude, I commend you for that, bro. That's absolutely awesome.
Did you?
Thanks, man.
Waz, did you learn how to do all that yourself, by the way? Like the editing and live streaming as well? Because our community, not to put it on blast, but our community really is in the stone age of streaming when it comes to when you open up I'm gonna be blunt about it. When you open up the MK11 directory and you look at it and you're just like, okay, 90% of these are direct PS4 feeds. Some of them have one little 16:9, overlay for a camera. But when you look at all these other massive games and massive streamers, we are ages behind in production and in the live entertainment industry that this space actually is. Because even when we do Kolosseum, our number one priority is entertaining the person watching. Yeah, that's number one.
I mean, yeah. So in terms of like everything that I do, like the editing, I taught myself all of that because, like I said, I've been doing like, I'm 24 now, and I've probably been uploading like, obviously, it wasn't like high quality, insane content, but I've been like doing something on YouTube for like at least 10 plus years. Like, not even always gaming. Like, I've done so many different things. Like, I've tried so many different things on YouTube, and like, just as a kid, like, passions that I had at the time, and like, so over that time, I've just learned how to edit. So editing, I do that myself. Thumbnails, I do that all myself. So that was all taught by myself. In terms of like production on my stream, like graphics and stuff like that, I just pay someone to do it. I'm not gonna say I'm like a graphic designer or anything. I'd rather just spend a little bit of money to have that really nice quality and nice production. So I think things like that, like investing a little bit into like your production or like into your brand is definitely worth it. Obviously, like when you're a smaller streamer, you're like kind of hesitant. You don't want to spend money on like stuff like that. But in the long run, man, if someone comes to my stream and sees like a nice graphic, it's a lot more like appealing than seeing like a PS4 stream. And then, again, that can work for you if you have the content on the actual stream that's like very like worth watching. But let's just say for example, like you have a PS4 stream, but you're like the most entertaining guy on the whole platform. Like people are gonna watch, right? But if you can mix it up between like
outliers.
Of course.
Look at Sonic. Look at Sonic Fox. Look at Ninja Kill It. Ninja can go live with a direct PS4 feed with zero microphone. And he's gonna get more viewers than anyone in our community because he's just god at the video game. That is a massive outlier right there. And you're right.
Yeah.
What it is just recognizing your strengths, man. And I think, Waz, you hit the nail on the head. You're like, listen, I can edit. I can put my personality into this. I can play the game. But in terms of sitting and making a graphic, like, I'm not going to do that shit. So, yeah, you find your strengths, and the things that aren't your strengths, you put a little bit of investment. The investment of your strengths is your time. The investment of the monetary is the shit that you don't know how to do. And that's pretty much how it goes.
I actually wrote down the word investment in the middle of this conversation when Waz brought up earlier. Waz brought up it was a couple of topics ago, but he brought up purchasing graphics, and I think every single person here knows that it's a massive investment to get into this space. My setup, I don't want to tell you guys how much it cost. I mean, if we're being super fucking real here, before I did the first Kolosseum, I spent about $2,500 alone on equipment to get set up for it. And I already had a budget of $0, so you guys can imagine where I even started that at. and still to this day, I think we're close to breaking even here at the Kolosseum. But you have to have such a passion for it, and you have to think of it as a passion project up front, that it is going to take some investment. And just like when I first got started as a competitor, I wasn't competing to make money. I was competing because I loved it, and it was a passion of.
Absolutely.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's the same for me too. I never really thought about competing for money. Even now, I still don't really care about prize money. Obviously, like I said earlier, my goal now is to be full time, but I know most of that is going to come from my content. So I'm going to be eventually I'm going to be at a point, and I'm just going to say, because I know I'm going to get there. So like, I'm going to be at a point eventually where I'm going to be able to just make content, and that's going to be my career basically.
Oh yeah, man.
So obviously I'm still going to compete. I love doing it, and that's going to be like, that's still going to be really high up there for me. But it's like, the prize money, even in fighting games, is like not that high anyway. So even if I was winning every event, I'm barely going to be able to do that full time. So it's like, maximizing like as many avenues as possible, as well as competing, is how you can really make this stuff work, to be honest. And in terms of like the investment thing, like, it is an investment. If you believe in yourself and you actually want to do this seriously, you're going to make that money back eventually anyway. So it's like, is it really risk? Is it really a risk if you actually think you can do it? I don't know.
Oh, that got really deep, and I want to get a little bit deeper here, because I have a question for you. So the other day, maybe it was a couple days ago, Waz, I saw you uploaded a video where you were quote unquote reacting to your first tournament win, or something like that. And I think in the tweet you put up, you were like, man, I was such a young kid. Like, look at that little kid, whatever. I have a question for you. If you could go back and give that young Waz one piece of advice, what would you go back and say to that kid wearing that hat in that tournament back in whatever that was, 2015, 2016, that young Waz, what is one piece of advice that you would tell him?
I would literally just say,
in Bitcoin.
I would just yes, I would say invest in Bitcoin first. Honestly, like, the only real mistake like that, I mean, it's a mistake, but I also learned from it. So it's kind of like, at the same time, it technically is a mistake, but I've figured it out now. So it's kind of a learning process at the same time. But I mean, it would have just been, just stick to focus on content even more, just start being consistent with it, because that was in 2017 when Injustice 2 and MK11 weren't even out yet. So like, I can't even imagine where I would be at right now if I was consistent with content from there. But it's kind of like a thing where, like, obviously I can look back and be like, oh man, I wish I did this then, I wish I did that then. But it's better just to, right now I'm in a spot where anyone is in this spot. You can start right now. It's never too late. I only started really popping 4 months ago, and the game has been out for almost 2 years. So like, there's no perfect time to do it. Obviously, when a new game comes out, that's a very good time, but you want to build that foundation before that happens. So, if you want to start, I mean, obviously I could go back and tell myself, start it right now. You're an idiot if you don't. But I mean, I've done it now. From only like the last 4 months is when it really started going crazy, like I said. So, if you're in that spot and you're considering it, just do it. Don't even wait. Like, you're just gonna regret it years later.
Yeah, I'm actually, in the same boat, and this entire crew here is kind of in the same boat with the Kolosseum here. Obviously, I could have done 5,000 things better, like not take a year off before doing it again. But now, this late, and when, oh my God, I announced the Kolosseum right when they announced that MK11 was no longer being worked on. Imagine how that felt. But again, but no matter what, committing to it, doing crazy things, going absolutely insane with it, and even at a time where most people would go, "You're a fucking idiot," but it's because you have such a passion and a belief into it that you put your all into it, and you hope that you succeed, and that's the kind of risk that you need to take in an industry like this, I find. And I want to get real about one more thing before we get to some funner stuff, and it is going back to when you first started talking about why you started a shift to content creation. There are a lot of people that haven't gotten there, that probably should get there. And I guess where I want to go with this is, I want to talk about people's or top players' mentalities when it comes to success in this space, because so many, what I find was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the top players I talk to are so focused on getting sponsored through results only, and that's it. And looking to get a monetary return, whether it be via sponsorship, directly being paid per month, simply to only compete and get results. And I don't know if you have much experience with that, but I have a follow up to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, so like results when a game is popping is definitely a thing you can like use that to leverage. Like, for example, like Injustice 2 Pro Comp, like we saw people getting salaries from that. MK11 Pro Comp, stuff like that. But there's the thing about like fighting game results and like in using that as like a way to leverage from sponsors is that some sponsors really don't care about your results. Like, why is the company like this is honestly being straight up like why is a company going to give you your money or invest in you if you're getting first at a monthly tournament or like at an online tournament?
Exactly.
If you have something like content where it's like there's actual numbers, like thousands and thousands of numbers or even more, that's something that a company wants. Because at the end of the day, like this is like companies are giving you money to make money back or to build their brand. So if you're just doing a tournament, obviously when it's like majors are happening, like Conway Raker CEO type of majors like that, Evo, that's obviously a different story. If you're making top 8 at those consistently, yes, you can probably get a sponsor from that. But at the end of the day, I mean,
guess what?
Content is the most reliable.
Yeah, that's because the tournament itself is getting the numbers that a sponsor would want their brand attached to. Because you nailed it perfectly, and this is the way that I like to put it. If you guys are out there looking to get picked up, and you approach a sponsor and you say, I want this much per month, and you aren't active on Twitter and you aren't active on YouTube and you aren't active on Twitch and you're only getting the results, ask yourself this question. How are they going to make that much money off of you and potentially then some for you to even be worth that much money? And if you can't answer that question, the 9 times out of 10, that means you're not worth that much money. If you aren't able to say that, whether it be, this is how successful my Twitch, YouTube is, et cetera, because they're right now, especially in this climate, it's definitely, those numbers matter, metrics matter. This is an entertainment industry. It's all about selling something, and all you are really is ad space, and you better hope that your audience is exactly what the advertisers are looking for. Welcome to trying to be a content creator in 2021.
Yeah, I think I think what you said was nail on the head. And when you're having these conversations with these potential sponsors and stuff like that, if you're just like, oh, well, I got second at this tournament, the conversation ends there. Whereas you could be, I have X amount of YouTube subscribers. I'm averaging X amount of views per video on my YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. My Twitter gets this much engagement. And now you see how the conversation is going on your end for a much longer time now. So yeah, you can't, I mean, of course, again, I'm not on the pro side, but I just know speaking to potential sponsorships and the creator side, it's like the longer that list is of shit you could talk about yourself, the much better of a chance
numbers
you have.
are. The bigger
exactly.
those numbers are.
Yes,
exactly.
All I can say, I mean, is I've had a lot more success getting partnerships with content creation on my own than I've ever had with a sponsor like beforehand, like with my results. So, results obviously at the end of the day, they do matter. They help. Honestly, in my like point of view early on, like if you're an early content creator or like whatever, use the results to get people to your content. That's it. That's the main reason. Obviously, there's money in it too, and obviously we're all still passionate about like competing in that. I obviously still want to get results. I'm still going to travel and like do that, but at the end of the day, content is where it's going to be. So like if you truly want to do this, you need to do content. Like there's just no excuse, man. It's like it's really obviously it is a bit daunting at first and it can be discouraging, but like man, even just one video a week, like something, like just do something, like at least build it up a little bit. Like I'm not saying go full time, go crazy, but like something, man, people, it's like this. Yes, exactly. Like even if you're getting like an extra 10 subscribers a day or a week or like whatever it is, like that adds up, man. By the time something else happens, that looks really good to a sponsor or a brand. Like if you can say to a brand like, oh, I got first at Comment Breaker, but I have 0 YouTube following and 0 Twitch following, like that's not going to get you anything. No one cares. Like just straight up. Like I'm just going to be honest. Like obviously results matter, but
the harsh reality.
It's true.
It really is, because you have to be sellable in a way. Like people you have to have earned their trust with an audience to be able to either push a product their way or push something their way. In a sense. But yeah, that's about as real as it gets, because it's something I've seen a lot within our particular community, and there's a lot of things that can definitely attribute even more to that. The fact that we have the 2-year cycle and all this other stuff, and
yeah, of course, yeah.
Pro Cop not being as big as it was with COVID happening, so many things. But right now is the perfect time to, in what is we are kind of in a competitive drought when it comes to the big official stuff, and with no news of the next game yet, like this is the perfect time to, if you want to try to keep the scene, growing and keep a scene here before something else happens, like now is the perfect time to try to hold on to that audience and keep them entertained, so that when the next one happens, it gets nothing but bigger. I find.
And
100%.
And one thing I hear Waz saying a lot is the term "no excuses," and kind of just to piggyback Aquaman off of what you just said, where it's like, oh, we're on a 2-year cycle, or there's a competitive drought. It's like, back to what Waz said, dude. There's no excuse. Like, you could sit and blame NRS. You could sit and blame whatever company's making your game. You could sit and blame the fact that nobody watches the game. Whatever. It's about controlling. It's controlling your destiny, and I think Waz is hitting the nail on the head with what he's doing, man. He's not letting the fact that the game is quote unquote dead. He's not letting the fact that he can't travel outside of his country to go to these international tournaments that aren't even happening. He's controlling his destiny, and he's taking it into his own hands and not making excuses. And I think, dude, that's literally the best thing ever, because it's so simple for me to just sit and be like, oh, well, nobody's watching my videos because they're not making any new DLC characters or anything. But instead, it's like, no, I'm going to figure out, how do I adapt? What could I make that people are going to watch? And I think it's so important to not blame outside factors and just figure out how you can just go full in and figure it out yourself. And I think the way you're doing it, 100%. Man, is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I think I've finally figured out something that's actually worked. Like, I mean, I've been doing it for a while, and like I said earlier on, I was doing like high level stuff, and it was just not the same, And I the main thing, a big thing that really changed for me was when I kind of took a step back and just looked at Mortal Kombat on YouTube as a whole, and I was like, who are the biggest creators, and what kind of content are they doing? And I'm like, hang on a second, they're all just doing entertainment content. Not that they're I'm not saying they're not bad, not good players or anything. They're just their content is entertainment. They're not competitive players, and it's like, okay, so let me just do that. Why would I even try? I can still mix that in there, but why would I make the primary focus competitive stuff when I can do that as well as make it entertaining at the same time? So it's finding what works, also studying people that are doing it well in the same space, even if it's not Mortal Kombat, any game really. That doesn't mean copy them, but that means see what kind of get some influence from them for sure. I've definitely had influence from people Super, 100%, Honeybee, Losty. Those three are two of the 3 biggest YouTubers for Mortal Kombat. So definitely those 3 have had a huge influence on my content. And yeah, like I said, it doesn't mean you're copying them, but you got to see what works. You can make your own stuff, but at some point you need to kind of have a little bit of leverage early on to try and bring other people's audiences to find your stuff as well, because otherwise you're just going to be making content for nobody, basically.
I think that's really good advice too, because even for what we do here at the Kolosseum, in order to spark a idea, there was a phase during Kolosseum where all I did was watch competitive Valorant productions, just taking notes, and so many behind the scenes. Ricky Rao, who's actually the producer at the Kolosseum, he's in the back. We'll also just watch other tournaments or produce other tournaments and just see what's working, what's not working, what's entertaining, what's not entertaining, and trying to bring out the best in a live show is exactly the approach that taken. I feel like no one should be ashamed in looking for inspiration in what's out there and what's working.
Definitely, and that's the word, man. You use the word inspiration. And one thing that I prided myself on when I first started this content creator thing is I was like, yo, inspiration is everywhere. It's not just watching Mortal Kombat creators. It's watching, even, dude, I don't fucking play Fortnite, but watching a Fortnite creator, it's like you can learn something. Inspiration can literally be anywhere. And it's just about how it's the magnifying glass. It's the glasses you have on your face that you're looking through. And that just determines, your success and how much you're going to be able to take from this and how much you're going to be able to do. Because like you said, you watch Valorant tournaments. People are like, what the hell does Valorant have to do with Mortal Kombat? But it's not about that. It's
It's
about
not
like the
about
fundamental ideas behind everything going on.
It's about the fact that 40,000 people are watching this and 200 people are watching this. There's a fucking difference there.
There's something going on that you could pick from.
Because I need more than 200 people to watch this. So how the fuck am I going to do that? It's seeing what's working and going, okay, it's because it's godlike. This is awesome. They got picture-in-picture instant replays. Oh, well, we got to pull that off now, son of a bitch.
And just like you said, you're like, there's 200 people watching, but it's like, instead of you being like, oh, fuck, this game's dead, nobody watches this, you're like, I'm going to figure out what the hell somebody else is doing, and we're going to figure out how to do this. Because, just blaming those external factors.
All right, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, the title of episode 1, Mama Didn't Raise No Bitch.
Mama Didn't Raise No Bitch. The game doesn't die until we let it die, okay? If it rolls over, it's because we rolled over. There's plenty of content here. There's so much talent within our community. I mean, Waz, you've been doing it, and it's insane even from the outside looking in. You know, as someone that just goes on Twitter and then just kind of checks out what everyone's up to, I could see that shift in focus of yours to that content creation grind, and to see the actual focus on it. And I could even tell that you were having your ups and downs of like, this is working, this isn't working. And seeing some of your first thumbnails, and then seeing your thumbnails now, seeing the improvement of.
That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. You gotta hate what you made in the beginning, and that's how you know you're maturing.
But it is,
man. 100%. Yeah, definitely. Like you said, like defining what works. Even still, man, I still make a YouTube video sometimes, and it will be like. Obviously, like now I'm getting that leverage where like my videos can still do okay, but like, you know, sometimes I'll make a video and it'll be like, you know, like the MKX one I made recently, like it didn't do as well as the other ones. And like, obviously it's a numbers game at the end of the day, but like, you know, sometimes your content, just some of it's not going to do well. And like, that's just something you need to see. Like, so like that MKX video I did, I realized now like, oh, maybe it was too long. Maybe I spoke too much. Maybe there was too much of this and that. Like, you know, there's so many ways you can look at it. So you really got to say, like you guys said, see what works. That doesn't mean don't try new things. I'll still try new things all the time, but you know, there's obviously got to be a similar format, and like, you know, people are subscribing for a certain format or a certain type of video. So you want to kind of keep it similar kind of videos, but that doesn't mean stay the same thing. Just, you know, don't be afraid to try new things, but also notice what is working and stick around that sort of thing as well. At least like, you know, for example, I do 3 videos a week now. At least like 2 of them can be like the same kind of video. The other one could be me trying something completely different and see how it goes from there. You know, that video could go absolutely viral. Like, you never know. So,
gotta experiment. If you run like an 80-20 rule within your head, man, you're good. Like 80% is the stuff that works, and that 20%, I'm gonna mess around a little bit. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to look at it.
A little bit of wiggle room. That's exactly what this show is right now for the Kolosseum, is us doing something a little bit different. And, you know, because everyone's so used to us just doing tournaments, and it's a 17-hour long video, and half of it's honestly ads, because we don't give a fuck. But anyways,
gotta get that rolling, man.
Before we close this out, I have a personal question for Wazmaker. Recently, you were trying to grow a mustache.
Oh no. Yeah,
he covered it up too. He's like, "Oh, why are we doing this?
Anyway,
why are we doing this? Just put the mic in front." Just
my only question is, where is it? What happened?
Look. Well, after the Kolosseum Global, you know, I was like, okay, I got no chance here, man. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm Look, it was like 7 weeks in, dude, and it just looked trash. I'm like, you know what? Hey, some people did give me props on it, all right? So it's all right. It's all right.
It's the respect for actually trying. It's the respect for trying. That's what matters the most.
I tried, dude. Look, I'm 24 and I still look like I'm like 16, bro. So I mean,
yo, I'm not gonna lie. When you said I'm 24 years old, I was like, oh shit. Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, dude. I definitely don't look 24. So.
Looking so young as Waz down there from Australia. Well, before we go start, I'm going to give you the floor, Waz. If you can, tell us anything you got going on, content creation wise. Is there anything coming up for Oceania? The floor is yours, man.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't want to go crazy plugging, but basically,
Do it.
If you want to
Everything.
see,
Every platform you got, man. Everything.
you want to see everything I've just everything I just spoke about, content. If you want to kind of get an idea of exactly what I'm actually saying in practice, just go look at my YouTube or like my Twitch. You can kind of see, you'll understand what I'm saying more if you actually go and look at the thumbnails, the titles, stuff like that.
Yep.
If you're seriously trying to take content serious and like you want to make this FGC stuff work, please start doing content. I know it's annoying at first and it's hard, but please start doing it right now. I'm telling you right now, go and start a video like today. Go and do a video right now. Because that is the biggest thing the FGC lacks. The numbers are there, especially for MK. Stop being lazy. I was lazy before and now I'm not. So, and it's definitely paying off. So yeah, definitely put in the work. If you guys want to follow anything of mine, you can see under my head right here. That's the tag. It's literally the same on every single platform. So you can check out any of that. You can also check out my new sponsor, MindFreak. We just got partnered yesterday officially. So yeah, this content creation stuff can work. I'm telling you right now because I literally have made it work in the last 6 months. And yeah, man, just keep following all the Kolosseum stuff. I really love what the guys are doing there. Let's just keep killing it. I think we can, keep this game going. Obviously, NRS isn't making stuff for the game anymore, but that's no reason we can't keep doing it. So just keep supporting the game, keep playing it, keep making content, support your content creators as much as you can. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I'm happy with that. I think that pretty much covers it.
Hit the nail on the head with that one. Actually, thank you so much hold on. There's one question I have to know. There's one thing I have to know.
Okay.
Where did the name Waz come from?
Ooh, I always get this question, and it's really not exciting. It's really not exciting, bro.
That's fine. We have to know.
I wish I had a good. Okay, so my name.
You can make up a fake one if you want.
My government name is Tasman, right? So
that's a sick name.
So it's kind of similar. So I get called Taz for short quite a lot, and I don't know what. I honestly can't even tell you what happened. But like when I was younger, I just started getting called Waz. I have no idea why. So if I could, I would just get rid of the Minator part 100%. I would just say fuck that right off. I hate that part. I hate it. But I can't get tagged.
Can I also just say anymore. That like the first time that I saw you on Twitter, I'm like, who the fuck is the Wazminator? Like I was like, dude, like I thought you were like a fucking monster truck coming, like the oh shit, the Wazminator.
No. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, if I could get rid of it, man, I would. But like, I mean, yeah, it's always been Waz, and then I just made a tag.
If I could change mine,
obviously,
I would too, man.
Yeah, like three letter tags are impossible to get, so I have to stick with this. But I've still like got the brand pretty much as Waz now. It's just like I can't get away from the other part forever. But I mean, yeah, that's it. There was a point where I was like, I'm just going to rebrand everything to Tasman. Like this is my actual name. I was like, this might be godlike, but I'm like, it's too late now. I think so.
It's too late. You're stuck. Yeah. You're stuck with Wazminator.
You have reached the point of no return. But thank you so much for coming on, Waz. We are going to call it there, and this has been episode 1 of the KoloCast, guys. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll catch you on the next one.